Okay, so go and grab your coffee, your tea, your glass of wine if it's later in the day, because we have a phenomenal show for you today.
Yes, we do.
That's right. Our guest today is a money business insider. He's a long term venture capitalist, a hedge fund manager who lives in a shark like world,
What?
just like that on TV. Yes.
Okay.
We have a big powerhouse today, Stormy. He is a regular speaker on Wall Street and in Silicon Valley, sharing monetary strategies with the nation's financial elite. That would eliminate you, Stormy.
I'm out.
Since selling his publishing company to a Fortune 500, wow, to a Fortune 500, he keynotes conferences worldwide, sharing Wall Street insights that enhance stakeholder value by delivering growth strategies and the inside track on money, success, and significance to business executives and their teams. Help me to welcome the powerhouse author of Stop Hustling Gigs and Start Building a Business, and the principal of Bullseye Capital, the money man himself, Joel G. Block, CPA, CSA.
All right, we got Joel on the show.
CSP,
I'll
excuse
tell
me.
you, that's
Welcome, Joel.
the way you read that, I'm even excited to hear what I have to say.
Well, I thank you, sir. I greatly appreciate
I hope it's
that.
as good as you made it sound.
Well, the fact that she was able to read, I'm excited for this show.
That's
Man.
right. That's right. Now, I did my due diligence and some research. I think that this kind of like undervalued the powerhouse that we have today because
Absolutely.
you are an impressive man, Joel. The accomplishments that you've had. I mean, starting from your career back in the 80s with Price Waterhouse. So you came out of the gate running and ready to win.
Well, listen, I'm not fooling around, put it like that. So if you got people here fooling around, tell them change the channel because we're not fooling around. I mean, if people want to make some dough, let's talk about making some dough, you know?
Okay.
There you go. Let's talk about it. Let's jump right
Yeah,
in
let's
there.
jump right in. Hey, by the way, I see in the background, that looks like a cover of your book. Is that correct?
That is the cover of my book, yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
It's a little larger than the real life book, though.
I think I can handle that one.
Absolutely. That works. So let me ask you a question. Tell us about that book, Stop Hustling Gigs and Start Building a Business. What's that all about?
Well, I mean, look, it speaks for itself. I
Yeah.
mean, most speakers, a lot of self-employed people, they're jumping from gig to gig to gig to gig. It's not the best way to put together a livelihood for your family. It just isn't the best way to take care of things. So, yeah, what I've done, I've spent my life in the deal business.
Okay.
And I've been involved in, personally, I've probably been involved in about 40 deals where I've been a principal in about 40 different deals. That means part of the company.
Wow.
But I've probably put together, hundreds more, and I've been inside of more than 1,000 companies. And from being inside of all these different companies, I accumulated the very best ideas that I saw different companies doing. And I kind of assembled my philosophies about selling, about negotiating, about, how I do things. And believe it or not, I put this together for my kids because I wanted my kids to have a memoir. And when I looked at it, I thought, this is just way too good to just put in a vault for the kids. This really needs to go out to the public. So that's kind of where it came from.
Wow. There you go.
So, you know what? That's interesting because it seems that so many of the best books, the best authors are those who wrote messages to themselves or specifically speaking to someone that was important in their lives.
Right.
And that's exactly what you've done here.
Yeah. So it's, people who read it, if there's 100 different, 101, 100 and something ideas, little mini chapters. And if you just read one a week, if you mastered one thing here or there, it would change your life. And really, it's really designed to help people to make a better life for themselves. Let the entrepreneur business. This is the greatest country in the world with the greatest system. Anybody, no matter what you look like, no matter where you're from, no matter what language your parents speak, no matter what you believe in, who your friends are, if you can solve another person's problems, money is going to move in your direction. And that's it. So we really just have to stay focused on that and let the entrepreneur business take care of itself.
Well, I want to repeat that because you said something extremely profound. If you take care of other people's problems, money will flow in your direction.
Wow.
Yes.
Now, what happens in the case of like Deborah, where she is the source of problems? Does that mean? I wonder what that
Well,
means.
let me, Stormy, let me just share a little insight here with you. And
Okay.
I know you have this little competition thing going, but did you know that businesses do not have problems? Did you know that?
Businesses do not have problems.
They
Really?
do not have problems. This is really, it's joking aside, this is
Okay.
really important for people to understand. Businesses do not have problems. You know what they have? They have expenses. Businesses have expenses.
Interesting.
And anything that they have a situation with, they throw a little money at it and it goes away.
Throw
Now,
me some money.
now listen to this here. You got to understand, I see money in a different way than other people do.
Okay.
I see it differently. And it's really important that you understand this, because this really affects the way that you make money. If you really understand that companies throw money at things to make things go away that they don't want to deal with, then you'll understand how to make money for yourself. So if you can solve a problem they have, for example, let's say there's a lawsuit. No problem. They just hire an attorney. Problem goes away. And that's the way it works.
True.
Now, I'm not saying it's pleasant to give the money away, but that's the way it works. Now, human beings, people in their personal capacity, we have problems. We have death, divorce, illness. We have all kinds of things. Businesses do not have anything happen to them that some amount of money cannot make go away. So it's just an
Wow.
expense.
Really? That's true.
Incredible. I mean, wait. That's incredible. The insights of what you just shared.
Well, if you stop and think about it,
absolutely.
If you think about it like that, more money is going to start moving in your direction. Now, if people don't want money moving in their direction, they should turn off the channel, because that's just one of many things we're going to talk about. We're going to go on for a while.
Wow.
That's right.
Yeah, and being a business owner, I'm thinking about that. I mean, that just makes so much sense. Never thought of it in those terms, and that is a huge, huge nugget. And if we're getting more nuggets like that, this is going to be one of our best shows ever.
I don't know. Maybe we should power it down right now. Maybe
we're
people
done.
can't take it.
There you go. That's it.
That's it. People, the cup is full. I don't know. The gas
That's
tank.
right. Thanks for
It's
coming to the
full.
show, Joel.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. Now, one of the things that I would like to talk about, I'd love to digress just a little bit, because the journey is so important. As we're sharing, once you get to the end, everyone just thinks that, oh, you just showed up one day and you were an overnight success. But
Yeah, that's what they think. Yeah,
right.
Exactly. But you have years and for decades building up, starting from a CPA and Price Waterhouse. Can you share with us a little of the journey that kind of brought you to this point where you're just your cup is just full of wisdom?
When I graduated college, I went to work at Price Waterhouse, which is one of the big accounting firms in the country. At that time, there were 8 big ones. Now there's 4 big ones, because there's been a lot of mergers and things.
Right.
And my job, I had many very interesting jobs. In fact, one of my great jobs was that I counted ballots for the Academy Awards, because Price Waterhouse counts the ballots, and I was on that assignment. So part of my job was to help count the ballots, and it was a very exciting thing. But I really didn't fit in well at the firm. I was really a maverick. I was too entrepreneurial. I wanted to do my own things. I wasn't a great soldier. And I really realized very early in my life at 23, 24 years old, that I just wasn't a soldier. They wanted me to do certain things. They told me what to do, and I pushed back. I had my own way of doing it. The dimes and pennies didn't line up in the columns. My handwriting was sloppy. I just wasn't well suited for being an accountant. But the last job I worked on at Price Waterhouse was this giant real estate syndicator. And a syndicator is a company that puts together people and their money into deals. So they're like deal makers.
Okay.
And my job with an army of other guys was to convert the books and records of 500 partnerships into tax returns. So every day
Wow.
I had to convert 4 sets into tax returns. Every day I'd do 4. That was my job, 4 every day. And it was horrible. It was just horrible, horrible work. I hated the work, but I loved reading the partnership agreements, because I was just amazed at what these guys were doing. And I said to myself, this is what I want to do. I want to be a deal maker like these guys. So I quit the firm And I went off and I started, dealing in real estate, and I brokered a building, and a couple of months after I quit the firm, I sold the building and made a 3/4 of a year's pay. So I knew that I did the right thing by leaving, and I've never looked back. And then I started, raising money, and then I got into a venture capital transaction. I've done a lot of different things. And, one of the things I'll tell you is that every one of us has extraordinary opportunities that cross our plate every single day, but not everybody recognizes those opportunities. And that's the difference between successful people and other people, is people who recognize, they stop, they recognize, they think, and they take an action. And so there are places in my life where something happened and I said, this could be a big thing. I'm making a right turn right here and right now to work on this thing. So I was originally going like this, but something happened. I thought, you know what? This is something I'm going to do different. I'm going to take advantage of that. So, sometimes you have to recognize opportunities when they come your way.
Let me ask you a question about that. How does someone discern the difference between opportunities and the squirrels? Those distractions.
Yes.
How do you tell the difference between the two?
We always talk about the shiny object syndrome,
right?
That we get distracted, in a certain way. You want to focus. I always call it the dot. You want to focus on a dot on the wall and, kind of be focused on that. But, you can't be so focused that sometimes a better opportunity comes along and it is a little hard to know. And so I would just tell you, maybe sometimes you need to just keep your eyes open and you need to say, what could this be? You got to ask yourself some questions about it. What's the impact of doing this? What's the impact of leaving this other opportunity? And you have to really kind of just ask yourself, and maybe you need to have a little group of friends that you can bring that to their attention. Say, listen, I've been doing this for some period of time, and this new thing just happened. I mean, I've gotten a couple of phone calls in my career that have really just changed everything. If I would have hung up the phone or not returned the phone call, it wouldn't have changed anything.
Right.
But because I did return the phone call and I did listen and I did give the opportunity some time to ferment and think about it, I changed course and did something different. And you know what? It turned out.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's it. And it's ironic that Stormie asked you that question because he has shiny object squirrel syndrome. It's like he needs to be in a rehab group for it.
As a matter of fact, I bought a set of squirrel salt and pepper shakers. I received them as a gift because of the squirrels, but
yeah. Well, listen, maybe you need to have some people to run some ideas by. That's all I can tell you. So,
so it's funny that you bring that up because that's exactly what I've done. So in my business, I see squirrels all the time, but before I act, I run them past a group of people that I trust. And they know what's going to happen because they see the look in my eye. They're like, oh, here he comes. He's got it. He's going to share it with us. They'll sit down before I have to say anything. They're like, okay, Stormie, give it to us. And there have been nuggets in there. There have been some really good nuggets, but there's also a lot of stuff which is just they still make fun of me today.
Hey, listen, there's no magic. There's no magic to anything in life. But here's the thing. Is that a lot of life comes down to structure. I talk a little bit about structure in the book, Stop Hustling Gigs. Structure is a weird concept. It's something that really is well understood by CPAs and attorneys because they structure transactions to work a certain way. Regular people, mere mortals, don't really understand what structure is. It's a very kind of amorphic kind of concept that's hard to understand. But structure is really, really important. So not only do you have to decide if you're going to do something different, but you have to structure it in a way that's going to work for you. And that's kind of the tricky part of this whole deal.
Right.
Very true. That is so very true. Now, I know one of the things that you talk about that you share when you're speaking and training and helping businesses from Wall Street to Silicon Valley and experts, through and through, is you talk about what a great business is. So what is a great business? Can you give us some basic nuggets on, because there's so many people that are out there and they're trying to build a business. And here's one of the things that happens all the time is that we go into that quadrant, if you will, where we become self-employed. And now we not only do we not own a business, but we own a job. So,
Well, that's or even worse, you're hustling gigs. You're jumping from one job to the next job, and you don't even. It's not even a good job. That's
true.
the problem.
Yes.
Is you giving yourself a job, and you might have the best employer, by the way, but the worst, the worst compensation and benefits program that there could be. So
That's
um,
true.
let me just tell you in a single sentence. I'll tell you what a great business is. A business is a machine that generates money. That's it. It's a machine that generates money. Now, Stormy, this is your opportunity to say something really pithy, okay? 'Cause that was so. I'm just waiting for you. Um,
He's
if your
not that
machine
smart.
is not generating money, then it's not a business. Then it's you, and you're hustling gigs.
Right.
And that's the difference. If the machine is generating the money, that's a business.
Right.
If you're generating the money, then it's not a business. And they're very different. And let me think about why. You can sell the machine.
Mm-hmm.
You can sell the business at the end for probably a lot of money, but you can't sell you jumping around, over hot coals from thing to thing to thing. That you can't do that. So that's really, in my mind, the big difference. And you have to think, how can I get myself out of the middle of the circle of this deal so that I'm not jumping from deal to deal? That's the trick.
Interesting.
That is very interesting. So that means that there are some businesses here in 2020 that need to start to decipher whether they have a business or not, and then kind of get that focus going.
I want to push back a little bit on you, Joel, on this one. I'm laughing as I'm coming up with my pushback. But unless you're a circus act, then you can sell yourself jumping from gig to gig. That's my way of making a joke, but apparently it wasn't that funny, so that's okay. I'll move on.
And you're normally not.
It's not that the circus act can't be sold,
Right.
but the guy that's jumping around is not for sale. He's
there it
for
is.
hire. He's for hire. And so, even still, he can be employed to jump from place to place, but it's not a machine. The circus itself, not anymore, of course, but was a machine that generated money, but not anymore. So, that's how I look at businesses. In a very simple way, businesses are machines that generate money.
So let's talk about that, generating money, because one of the things that I believe you've been talking about before others was developing multiple streams of revenue.
I was just going there. Oh, my God. Get out of my head, Stormy.
Yeah.
I was just going there.
Well, I'm just smarter than you, so I come up with these profound questions much faster.
Whatever.
Can we talk about that? Because that's something that now people are talking about it. It seems like it's this new thing. Hey, some of these online personalities are talking about you got to have multiple streams of revenue, but you've been talking about this for decades. I would imagine some of them got it from you.
I have a concept that I call the Revenue Octopus.
Okay.
That a great business has multiple tentacles of revenue, and they work together. And if you notice, great companies have many different ways that you can spend money with them. Individual people, speakers, people like us, that retail kind of businesses that work with people, for whatever reason, we tend not to do that. Now, maybe we're embarrassed. I think a lot of people are a little bit embarrassed to ask for money or whatever. But think about like a hotel. So you go to the hotel, and they've got many, many different ways for you to spend money. So this is called a go deep strategy in selling. When you get the customer, you hook them in, and then you go deep with that person.
Right.
So here's what happens. Mm-hmm. So you go to the hotel and you say, I need a room. They go, that's great. We'll give you a room. Would you like a better room? Okay. So they can upsell you to a better room. And then once you get to your room, they say, would you like to go to the restaurant? Would you like to have room service? Would you like to have, movies on your TV? We have a resort that has a swimming pool. We do massages, and we have a casino, and we have all these different things that you can do. Think about Starbucks. this is another great example. Is you go in to get a cup of coffee, and they can upsell you to a better cup of coffee. They have food, they have T-shirts, they have now. And imagine when the business was young, they didn't start this way.
Right.
But imagine there are a couple people sitting around and having a cup of coffee, going, it's pretty good. And then they open a little store, and people come in. And then they say, what else do we have? Well, how else can we get money out of the people that are here? Well, we have all these people coming in our store. We have to find more ways to get money because we want to really kind of stretch our marketing dollars, right?
Right.
So they say, well, gee, as long as they're in the store, maybe those people would like to buy beans to make coffee at home. Maybe they need to buy a coffee maker. Maybe they want to buy some of our accessories, like shirts, whatever. And then they eventually get to the place where they start selling their drinks in supermarkets. So you can buy their things in other places. They have a wholesale channel. And then Costco calls them up and says, well, gee, I know you sell beans. Do you sell 5-pound bags of beans? Can we be your big bean bag representative? And now they do the thing with Costco. And then they start selling credit cards. So no matter where you go around the world, you're using their credit card, they're making a little vig on your credit card,
Right.
So, here's what it is. Here's how you have to think about it. And again, it's back to me being in the money business. I think about things as assets. A customer is an asset. How can I monetize this asset? What else can I do to squeeze a little juice out of this little bean here? This coffee bean that we have here in front of us, right?
Right.
So, we sit and we think, how can we do that? And that's what the guys that started Costco probably did, and every other great business in the world ever did, is they say, what else can we do to, monetize our asset better? And the asset is probably the customer. Well, what's related now, what Starbucks did not do is they didn't say, why don't we open a spaghetti restaurant? Okay, so because that's not related. So that's not, they were correct not doing that. They want to stay consistent with their message, with their product, they want to serve all the coffee, relaxation, restful needs and nutrition needs that the people have that come into their store, and they're very clear about exactly what that is. So that's something a great business does. And the more different ways people can leave money in your store, the more likely you are to end up with a machine that generates money independent of you. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't be the lead thing that happens that gets them into the store. But once they get in the store, they need to buy some things that don't include you, where you're not rendering the service yourself. And that creates a great business, a great machine.
Wow. You know what? You're sharing some information that, as a business owner, entrepreneurs that are listening to this show, you're sharing a fundamental shift in the way that we need to be thinking.
Right. Yes.
Which is, you really have to change your way of thinking, and it's pretty incredible. What are we going to dive into, Deborah?
Well, one of the things that I was going to say is, as we're talking about multiple streams and your analogy with the hotels and then with Starbucks is so point on.
Absolutely.
But so often we try to figure out, so what is the next thing? And funnels have really gotten really good at this, that, if this, then what? If not this, then what? So it directs you on this journey. So one of the things the questions that I have is you have a formula for grabbing a prospect's attention in 10 seconds. My question with that is, if you're grabbing their attention, which one, or how do you decipher what you're grabbing their attention for? How does that look? If you can give us an example.
Let me straighten out the concept just a little bit. Okay. My experience in going to cocktail parties and meeting strangers, or cold calling people on the telephone, or wherever we all go, we're in an airport, we meet a stranger, whatever it is you do, it doesn't make any difference. Most people are very busy thinking a lot about themselves. They're not thinking a lot about you. And even when they meet you, they're not thinking about you that much. So
yes.
In fact, I think scientifically, every 7 seconds, we go back thinking about ourselves. So here's what you have to do, is you have to blurt something out that is so interesting, so remarkable, so head turning, that the person leans in and says, "Oh, really? Tell me more about that."
Oh.
And so here's the concept. I call it 10-1-10. You have exactly 10 seconds to get a person's attention so that they give you 1 to 10 minutes more. See, once a person asks you a question like, "Oh, really? Tell me more. Or how does that work? Or what happens?" Then they have now volunteered to listen to you talk. So I can't tell you on this discussion here exactly what each person should say, but you have to blurt something out. And, for example, I created this financial newsletter company many years ago, which I sold to that big company that you were talking about.
Okay.
And I cold calls, this was in 1991, calls to big companies, newspaper companies, for example. And I was calling fax companies because it was said we were delivering stock quotes to people by fax. Okay, at that time, that's what it was. It was a personalized little newspaper. So I call up the fax companies and I said, we have software for fax machines. And I thought that was going to be really interesting. And they listened, they thought, and they go, we don't know what that is. We're not interested. Okay, so I called a bunch of those guys. That didn't work out. Then I started calling newspaper companies and I said, we have a technology that can deliver a personalized newspaper to every one of your customers every day. And I am not kidding. It's crazy. That 10 seconds, they go, really? How does it work? And then I would tell them the story. And, if they were interested, they would, invite me in for a couple hours discussion. And by the way, I ended up getting $10 million investment from making those phone calls. So
just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. A little bit, yeah.
So you do have to, it's worth coming up with some stuff. And you got to say something that's really kind of interesting, something that's unique. And that wasn't complicated what I said. I just said something that I thought that they would be interested to hear. And even now, when I talk, say, for example, about my hedge fund or about whatever it is that I do, I'll say, we buy distressed properties, turn them around, sell them, make money, and share the profits with our investors. That's a very, very simple thing.
Yes.
And, people will say one of a couple things. If they're not interested, they'll say something like, Joel, I'm going to Milwaukee next week. Do you know what the weather's going to be like? and okay, so if that happens, don't badger the people, just let them go. Another thing that they frequently will say is, Joel, did you know that I'm in the real estate business? Can I sell you a piece of property? Okay, so, they might be a vendor. But then there are these other people that'll say, they'll whisper in my ear, hey, Joel, listen, I'd like to learn more about this. How do I get involved in this sort of thing? And so, then you focus on the people that are interested. So you blurt something out, you put it out into the world, and the people that are interested are going to raise their hand. I'm all about raising your hand. I don't want to talk to people that don't want to talk to me. If they want to talk to me, great. But anyway, 10-1-10. You got 10 seconds to get 10 minutes of somebody's attention.
10-1-10.
That's it. It's a very simple formula. I've just got 100 of these little rules of thumb. I wish we had 10 hours to do more of this, but and then I could see Stormie, making jokes with Deborah. I haven't seen that many yet. I'm waiting. You told me to expect them. What's up with that? I don't know.
You know what? I'm sitting here and I'm just, I'm mesmerized by the wealth of knowledge that we're getting. I'm like, oh, this is good stuff. This is good stuff. I'll have to explain it to Deborah later because this is some good stuff.
Oh man, that
go.
Deborah, I'm coming to your defense here. I am definitely going to be coming to your defense. This is not nice. Okay,
this is not. No.
Yeah. We're going to double team him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'll tell you, Joel, you're an extremely smart person, but I don't think there's a person that's smart enough on this planet that can help Deborah out. Just saying. I just want to put it out there.
Oh.
But mind you, if you go back and look at the other shows, not one person has ever been on Stormie's side. And you know why that is? Because we only allow the best of the best on this show. And they're all intelligent enough to know we're not going to go into the stupid corner. We're not going on that side. So that's what happens. There you go. But you're delivering such valuable nuggets and things that everyone's talking about, but no one is able to break them down at the level that you're breaking them down at, Joel, which is phenomenal.
Absolutely. And, you mentioned, and I don't believe you've mentioned it here today, but you talk about that businesses shouldn't be dependent on their owners. But I'm an owner and I manufacture widgets, and I'm thinking that no one can do this as well as I can. I can't find people that can do it as good as me. What do you say to someone like that?
Well, listen, it goes back to the concept of businesses are machines that generate money.
Yeah.
Listen, America's a free country. You can run your affairs any way you want to. And if you want to be the best widget maker, that's fine. But if you want to have a machine that generates widgets that makes your family money that you can sell to another person, if you're the only person that can make the widget, you can't sell it in the future. So you just kind of do those things, and maybe you can get some help figuring out what to do better.
And that's just it, Stormie. That's your biggest problem is you're building widgets. He's been building widgets for about 2 years now.
Yeah. What?
We haven't seen one yet. That's exactly it. So now, with a lot of the individuals that we deal with, the biggest thing, much of what you're saying takes a period of developing. It takes a period of putting it all together so that it works smoothly. And this is a question that I love to ask, especially for experts and individuals that have mastered systems and processes. You've got the 10-1, and basically, what is it? 10-1. Say it again.
10-1-10.
10-1-10. So with something like that, you had to sit down and figure out what works and what didn't work. Like you said it to a newspaper, it didn't work, but then when you said it to someone else, it worked. So when you're coming up with these things, the first thing that people are thinking is that I've just got to go out of the gate running, and I've got to make a bunch of money, and I've got to figure it all out. Right now, I don't have time to do that. You know, if you have 6 hours to chop down a cherry tree, you spend 4 hours sharpening the saw. Most people, they say that, but they don't realize how powerful that is. How do you get individuals that you work with past the mindset that let's just launch no matter what it is, versus let's create the plan, let's test it, let's back test it, let's create what works long term? How do you get people into that mindset?
Well, first of all, I'm very, very picky about who I work with. I don't work with a lot of people, and I'll tell you why. Is because I'm very concerned about my batting average.
Okay.
So I only work with people that are probably going to be successful, and people that exhibit behaviors that are probably not going to be successful, I refer them to other people.
That was a very, you know what,
those
Joel,
would be the
I gotta
ones that
tell you,
Stormie would get,
that was
right?
a very, very polite way of telling Deborah you're out. That was, you know what?
That is not.
Man, I'm not even going there, man.
That's right.
But anyway, so here's what happens: is a lot of people that get to me have already been down the path, Deborah, that you're talking about.
Okay.
They've already done something that did not work out, and then they say, I just tried this, it didn't work out. And then I tell them why it didn't work out, and I say, if you really want to do it, let's do it the right way. And I say, okay, it's going to take some period of time. And they go, I want to be done in 2 weeks. And I said, it's not possible to be done in 2 weeks because, and you know what, because I've been there, done that, I've done the things that so many of these entrepreneurs and different people have tried to do. They look at me and they say, you know what, I think if the guy says it's going to take longer, because my fee doesn't change if it takes 2 weeks or 2 months. It doesn't change. So you would think I'd be incentivized to move faster, but that's not the case. The case is that, if people, want to get something done, let's do it right, because doing it wrong, you don't get a second chance usually.
Wow, that's true.
Yeah, that is so true.
That is really powerful, Joel. So with the individuals that you're working with, did you ever run into a place where when you were making this transition that you feared that there wouldn't be enough clients? Because that's the next thing that they go to. Okay, they've gotten to the place to where I'm going to pick and choose who I'm going to work with. I'm not going to pick any Stormies. I'm only going to pick Deborahs. But finding Deborahs is difficult, because this is an elite group. So did you ever?
Tell you something, there are not, Deborah, just so you know, there are not a lot of gems out there. There's a lot of sand particles, but not a lot of gems.
I like that.
You're good.
That's right. There you go. So did you ever run into that as you're going along this journey where you feared that there wouldn't be if you were picking and choosing?
Let me address another concept, and you better get ready to write this one down, because this one's going to blow off your shoulders here. It's another one of these concepts. Money follows expertise. So the better you get at something, the more money you're probably going to make. And when you become a world-class expert, people search you out. So I don't worry that there aren't enough people, because my world is big enough that there are people. Mm-hmm. I just have to let the world know who I am and what I do, so that the right people will find me. And I really do work on a raise your hand kind of basis. I don't call people. I don't beg people. I don't whine and moan and grovel and do all the kinds of things that most people do. All of those things, by the way, lower your price and your value. But I just I do what I do. I do it very, very well. And if people need my help, they can have my help. That's it. And that's just kind of how I think about the world.
That's powerful.
Wow,
No,
absolutely.
no disruptive marketing in your world, in other words.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm going to tell you, and this is another thing. I don't advertise. My business is referral. I have a list of people that follow me, and I send them my stuff. But uh, I come from kind of a secret world. The hedge fund business is a secret world,
Yes.
and you kind of have to know the secret knock to get into the world. So I know things that other people don't know, but they wish they could know. I mean, I've got the inside track on a lot of stuff. So I don't brag about who my clients are. I don't name drop too much. I'm not like most of the other people. I kind of think that people who do those things may not be all what they say they are all the time.
That's true.
I just
Right.
tend to be a little more on the quiet side.
That's 100%
So,
true.
wasn't it quiet but hear me roar or something? I forget. Helen Reddy had some song about that. And
Yep.
that's kind of how I feel about it. Is quiet but powerful.
The gentle giant.
Absolutely, the gentle giant. I do want to clarify something, Joel. Earlier, you said there aren't many gyms in the world, and was that GEM or GYM?
GEM.
Oh, okay. Just wanted to clarify. Just wanted to clarify. You mentioned the way you increase your batting average, but you talk about multiple ways of increasing your batting average. Would you mind sharing some of the other ways that someone can increase their batting average? Because obviously choosing the right people to work with and being able to reject others or repel others is phenomenal. And it's something I absolutely believe in.
Well, so first of all, you have to disqualify before you qualify.
Ooh.
Everybody talks about qualifying people. You got to qualify your prospects. That is not the first step. The first step is disqualify people that you don't even want to even discuss this with. So you have to, chop off. And that, by the way, is probably about 80%. It's a huge percent that you just disqualify. And, I just put out some criteria. In order to work with me, here's how it works. You have to meet these criteria. And people can self-select. They can understand what they are, and that's very simple. Once you've disqualified, then you can qualify people based on whatever the criteria are that you have. And that's a powerful mechanism that you can implement.
So I should have disqualified Stormie when we started this, is what you're saying.
Yeah, well, it's too late.
Too late. But I love that. I come from a world of sales, and sales. It's qualify, but disqualifying before you qualify.
Well,
that's huge.
Think about this, okay? The reason my batting average is so high is not because I am a better batter than everybody else. It's because I eliminate all the bad pitches. So anybody, my pool of people is so much smaller. So the percentage of success is very high. And then I spend a lot of time with the people who are likely to be good prospects. I don't waste time on knuckleheads. I just don't. I'm very, very quick, except for this one particular time. I'm very quick to identify the knuckleheads and eliminate them from my world.
Wow.
And it's interesting that you should say that, because what this has you doing is you're doing it in reverse. Most people are trying to qualify everyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's their main thing, is let me qualify you. No one is looking
Let me tell you something else. I'm a rather contrarian person.
Mm-hmm.
When I was little, my dad say, every time I say black, you say white. I don't do it on purpose. I see the world in a little bit of a different way.
Mm-hmm.
My theories, my philosophies, I really believe, when you go to your hair cutter and the hair cutter whispers in your ear, the stock market's going to be going higher. That's when you sell. That is exactly when when you start getting advice from people like your hair cutter and your store neighbor and the fireman down the street. That's how you know. And so, there are cues all around us, and you just have to take the cues. And maybe that's just because I've been on the inside track and I kind of know. But that's it, man. You just gotta be able to know. So I do a lot of things backwards from other people, just because everybody else is marching to the left. I'll tell you, 90% of the time, everybody's looking to the left, the money's on the right. The money is almost never where people are looking. You're looking left, the money's on the right, almost every single time. Or, and when I say the money, I'm not talking about no money. I'm talking about the big money.
Yes.
That people are so busy picking up nickels and dimes and getting jobs for $20 an hour that they miss the opportunity to make really, really big money, like a year's pay, in a day or two or three. And so, one of the questions I always ask is, why is it that professional investors make, make more money in 5 days than other people make in 5 years? Why?
Right.
Because they understand things that other people don't understand. And is it possible for those people to learn those things? They probably could, but most people don't have the discipline to learn how it really works. And it's not that the professional investors and people like me are doing anything wrong. It's that we understand the world in a different way.
No, that is so very true. And I have to tell you this, Joel. I am a trader. I'm learning Forex, so I've been doing this trading. And yesterday, the market gapped 300 points, and in 30 seconds, you could have literally made in 30 seconds your year's salary, just yesterday alone, based upon something that the president said.
And let me tell you something. You don't think that happens all day long, every single day?
Yep.
But here's the thing, is that some people's eyes recognize it, some people's eyes do not.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to learn to be somebody who recognizes, not necessarily in Forex or stocks or real estate,
but just in general.
In anything that you do. That's why money follows expertise. I'm quite certain that people who make widgets recognize gaps in widget markets.
Yes.
And they understand things. And all of us do. And you really have to learn how to monetize the things that are happening in your area.
That's powerful.
Wow, absolutely.
Wow.
It's not about looking for something in other locations. It's becoming an expert in what you do first.
It's right. Most everything is right in front of you, man. It's right there.
And so few people, I think, they really don't understand the value of that expert level and what it takes to get there.
That's it.
You certainly don't, Deborah.
Yes. But I'm the one that puts all of this together every day, Joel. So just so you know.
So let me ask you a question. And I'm going to go back to the book that you have, with the book cover sitting right there in the background. The nuggets that you're sharing with us today. Let's say I'm an entrepreneur. I'm listening to this show and I'm like, wow. And if someone has the same experience that I'm having right now listening to you, and they're like, what this guy is saying is making tons of sense to me. I need to go learn more. The concepts and principles and the information that you're sharing with us today, is most of that inside of your book?
A lot of it is, yeah. I would say the vast majority of it is. A lot of the philosophies that I have about the world, a lot of how I see the world is in that book. Remember, I wrote it for my children. I mean, I spent a couple of years documenting a lot of the best ideas and a lot of the great things that I saw and did. And I put them together, in my book. And really, kind of came together something that's really cool. So, yeah, quite a bit of it is there.
Wow.
Now, what about opportunities to work with you or to get any of your trainings? Are there any of those opportunities?
I don't, it depends what kind of people we're talking about. I don't really work with people very much, consumer people, small business people very much.
Okay.
If somebody wants to talk to me about something that's really burning up inside of them, I am happy to talk to them. I don't have a program per se for, individual people, individual business people. I tend to work with larger companies now, although I spent my years in venture capital and have invested in, many things. So I've read thousands of business plans, and I was talking to a guy yesterday, a good friend of mine sent me a business plan. In 5 minutes, I said, this is what I think is wrong with it. And he had no idea. And it really changed the way he thought about it. So, I just look at things in my way, and that's what it is. I've done it for a long time. And I will tell you, though, that we produced recently a special report, being, in the Wall Street business for all my years, raising money and doing the things that I do. There are some trends. And one of the things that I know, and this is kind of a sad thing, but it's a true thing. Wall Street gives the best intel and the best insights to these largest and most valuable companies. They tell them exactly what they do in order to maximize their value on the stock market. But that content, that information, those insights don't trickle down into the middle markets and the smaller companies. So I've assembled a little special report, 20 business trends for 2020, and put them out there. They're available for free because I want small businesses to have access to this. And if they'd like to download it, they can go to take out their phone, open their texting app, put it the number 72,000, and then in the where you put the words, type the word trend, TREND. So text the word trend to 72,000, and I think you'll be quite surprised at some of the things that you see. So these are things that they're my predictions. They're just trends or things I see, and they're organized in buckets of capital. So there's financial concepts, there's some human resources concepts, there's some intellectual idea concepts. I mean, there's just all kinds of cool stuff, and I think even Stormie might get a little something out of it.
Even Stormie. So you
hard
have
to say,
section.
but I think it's possible.
That's nice. He has a preschool section for you,
Yeah,
Stormie.
absolutely. If you have this condensed in 50 words or less, I'm in.
How about we have the coloring book
with
edition.
a picture, yeah.
No words at all.
A picture or two. You can make that happen.
Now, Joel, we have a pretty good following of listeners here in Las Vegas, and I understand that you're coming into Las Vegas in February and speaking at the local chapter of the National Speakers Association. Is that correct?
They did invite me, and I will be there in early February. Yes,
in early February. And when you come out, are these the types of concepts that you'll be talking about, or will you be talking about something else? Share with us.
It's a little bit of this. I mean, we're going to talk about how to stop hustling gigs and start building a business for speakers, and how speakers make money, and how they structure things, and how they put deals together, and how they make more money than they're making now. And I've done this for a few chapters around the country, and apparently the reviews are pretty good.
How to make more money than you're making now.
That's always a good thing.
That works.
Yes,
absolutely.
I'll be there, in the front row taking notes.
Absolutely. I'll be there to help you.
To get me straight.
To get you straight there.
To get me straight. So again, this is a gift, folks. You have heard the wisdom and the expertise from this gentleman. Text. Get your phones out. So we don't want anyone to miss this.
Right.
Text.
Trend.
No.
To 72,000.
To 72,000, right. So make sure that you get that report and start to follow some of the things that individuals who have a certain level of success. And ironically, one of the things that I do every morning, I have my strange rituals, and I know you don't have any, but one of mine is every morning I start with an intention, and I turn on YouTube, oddly enough. And the reason that I go to YouTube is that I find individuals that I don't look for the people that everyone knows. I look for the individuals that no one is talking about. And I find out about their journeys. And there's some amazing journeys like yours that, it's not going to be right there just clear popping out in front of you. But when you research it, that's where the most valuable information comes for growth. So
let me just tell you that, like I said earlier, the entrepreneur business is the only business on the planet that really doesn't care what you look like, what color you are, where you're from. If you can solve somebody's problem and make a situation go away they don't want to be in, money's going to move in your direction. And that's why I'm so passionate about this business, is I really, listen, the entrepreneur business has been good to me. I want it to be good to other people. And that's why I share. So I'm kind of at the place where, now I can be charitable. I've done a lot of nonprofit work, and I really would like to see some of these people be profitable.
Wow, that's awesome.
Find a problem and solve it.
Absolutely. This
is
incredible.
Just that simple.
I want to verify. Is it trend to 7200030?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. maybe I just did that, and I'm waiting for. I'm like, where's my report? Where's my report?
Well,
So,
you know what? You're supposed to get an email, text back that says, can we send you messages, and then you give them the email address, and we'll email you the report. So
okay,
just hang in there.
hang in there. I'll wait for that text.
That's
So,
the important. See, squirrel.
Absolutely.
He's ready to move on to the
absolutely.
next thing.
I'm excited. Well, this was a great episode. This is one of our top episodes. If you're in Las Vegas when Joel's here, we will add the information to the show notes on this podcast. We'll add the information to the Facebook feed. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to be there in the front row taking notes. And if you come and see Joel and you're there because of this podcast, stop it. Say hi to me. Let Joel know. But this is going to be a great event here in Las Vegas. I'm excited.
Exactly. And so, Joel, as we're closing out, we have some individuals that are mini powerhouses. They're on the journey. What piece of advice could you give them?
Well, first, congratulations for getting on the path, and don't look backwards, and don't listen to naysayers.
That means Stormie's out.
I'm out.
Well, that's not to say don't listen to anybody. I mean, maybe you need to get some advice and input from some people who've been down the path before, but there's a lot of people who have never been down that path that are going to tell you can't do it. And what they're really saying is, I don't think I could do it, so I don't see how you could either.
Wow. Look at that.
Wait, where's my mic? Okay.
Absolutely. That's
my
definitely a
mic
mic drop. That is certainly a mic drop.
Boom.
Absolutely.
Boom.
That's huge.
That most certainly is. Well, thank you so much for joining us today as our Powerhouse Experts featured guest, Joel. We certainly appreciate the information that you have shared. And do you have a YouTube channel?
I do. I have, I think, just look me up on YouTube. I think I've got 2 of them. There's one's a lot of my real estate stuff, and one's some other keynote related stuff, but my podcasts and all my stuff. I got a podcast, Profit from the Inside. We talk about strategies to give your business the inside track. And we just bring on great guys that just really deliver the inside track. Celebrities, business professionals, politicians, athletes. We've had some of the top people you could imagine. We just really pull out the stops on that deal. It's really cool. So check out Profit from the Inside.
Profit from the Inside. I will be your newest subscriber because this is,
Absolutely.
I can't wait. Profit from the Inside, wherever you get your podcast. You definitely go check it out.
Right.
That's it. Well, thank you so much, Joel, for being with us and sharing, bringing your A game.
Absolutely.
And sharing so much. We will definitely be at the event in February to see more. And if any of you want to join him to get some more nuggets, please contact nsalasvegas.org.
Oh, is it .org?
I think it's
Yeah,
.org.
something like that. Yeah,
Something like that.
Go to the nsalasvegas.com.org, whatever it is. Go to that website, get registered.
Dot something, yeah.
Dot something. Go to that website, get registered for the February event. And for those of you that are listening to this podcast, one of the ways that you can help us bring on more incredible guests like Joel is to subscribe, rate, and review. And remember, as always, when you rate and review, give me props, not so much for Deborah. That goes a long way. And with that being said, we look forward to seeing you on our next episode of Powerhouse Experts. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks so much. Thank you, Joel.